Hello, everyone, and welcome to TradeWorks Forecast. My name is Megan, and I am the reference manager at St. Louis County Library. Today's presentation is being recorded and will be sent with the slides early next week. So today's program will cover the definition of trades and forecasts so that we're all on the same page moving forward throughout the presentation. The lay of the land, so really looking at what job growth looks like in Missouri, and then St. Louis for trades work. We're going to dive into the occupational handbook to see how to look up specific careers and trades. After we look at the occupational handbook, we're going to go to library resources so we can see how the library can help with job training, locating jobs, and etc. After we look at what the library has, we'll look at what other resources are in the area that you could reach out to for different career-specific information. And then at the end, we will cover how to reach out to the reference department to assist with any of the resources discussed or to assist you in your job search journey. So as I mentioned, I said we're going to start with definitions. So both definitions are on the screen, and the first one is trades. And these are occupations that require a special skill, knowledge, or ability, which can be obtained at a college, technical school, or through specialized training. So when we think of a trade, we can think of stuff like construction, food service, healthcare, things that do require specific training. When we think about forecast, this is something that predicts how many jobs will be available in a particular trade or profession at a future point in time. This is great to look at if you're thinking of shifting careers or going into an industry like fresh out of high school or college or wherever you're at in your life, just to see how that industry is moving forward, if it is moving forward, and to see if that industry is a sustainable choice. There are resources that we're going to take a look at that can help you see industry forecasts, and we're going to take a look at some of those next. Went too fast. So let's start by looking at Missouri. So I said we were going to look at Missouri, and then we're going to look at St. Louis. So for Missouri, there is a job growth rate that is right in line with the national average. So we're seeing a growth rate of 7.3%. The national average falls anywhere between 5 and 8%. The Missouri Economic Research and Information Center releases a report annually that looks at job growth in Missouri in different regions, as gives industries a grade of A through F. So career grades is what that is at A through F, are grades based on a combination of projected total job openings, projected percent growth, and average wage. So grade A jobs are going to have the most growth, where grade F jobs will have the least. With that being said, for Missouri, grade A jobs are projected to have the most openings, which is another factor to go into that grading, grade A, B, and C. So grade A have the most openings, and there's going to be over 333,000 jobs within the first three letter grades, grades A through C. As you can see on the right side of the screen, there are average salaries for the grades. However, as we go through the next few slides, and you'll see how these grades play out when we are looking at different jobs, you might see a grade A that is higher than 79,000 and a grade A that's lower than 79,000. So just keep in mind that the grade level assigned is in relation to job growth and average salary. So there might be some fluctuation difference there. So this slide that we're looking at right now shows what is hot now in Missouri, and the now jobs typically require little to no training, and typically you will need a diploma or a GED. These are industries jobs that Missouri sees the most growth in currently. So as you can see, there are quite a few trades, and I tried to highlight them the best I could because this is a screenshot with then highlighted on top. But if we look at the last line, and we're looking at laborers and freight, stock, and material movers, Missouri is expected to see a 13% increase in this job field. You see an average salary of $33,000, and then there's going to be a total opening of over 6,000, almost 7,000 jobs between 2020 and 2030. And so that is a B+ rating. We look up just a little bit, we see landscaping is a B rating, and we can see that the percent increase is lower, but the wage is higher. So that grade is really going to be dependent on that percentage and an average salary, as well as how many openings. So I really wanted to point that out because construction laborers is an A. They have the same percent increase as laborers and freights, but their salary is higher pay than labor and freight. On the next slide, we see those positions that are next and in the line for growth. These are jobs that typically require some training or possibly an associate's degree. So if we look at the last line again, we have electricians rated as an A. So we saw construction was rated as an A at 13%, we have electricians at 17%, and their average salary is over $60,000. We have a few slides or a few trades listed on this slide, including first line supervisors of construction and extraction workers, plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters, and electricians. Now, I know what I'm going to talk about in the future. So I want you to look at this plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. And in Missouri, we're seeing a 12% growth. And I want you to keep that in mind because we are actually going to revisit looking at this industry again. And I want you to consider what we're seeing here in Missouri versus what we're going to see nationally. So plumbers, pipe fitters, steam fitters has a pretty good job growth. And that is something you might be interested in. And then the last thing that this report shows is those laters. The later jobs that are going to be seeing growth later because they typically require a 4-year degree or higher. So these jobs might not be specific trade positions. These might be things that you don't think scream trade, but a lot of these jobs are actually things that you can do in the trade industry. So let's look at HR specialists, for example. It's going to be in most industries. It's rated an A. It's an 11% job growth, percent increase, $61,000 salary, and 1,500 job openings. HR specialists can definitely be within the trade field. So while you might not want to do the trades yourself, or maybe you want to get into the trades, and you do have that 4-year degree in business management or HR, you could still go into the trades and see what your job growth is in relation to the field that you're interested in. So again, not a lot of trades on this slide, but these are all jobs that could be trades. Registered nurses is one of those trades, as you do need specific training, as we don't want nurses that don't know how to put a needle in us or anything. So now we're going to move on to St. Louis. So St. Louis apparently ranks low in job market health. So compared to other metro areas that are similar in size, our job market is not as healthy, which is unfortunate. But in the next slides, I don't want that to be a doom and gloom on jobs here. In the next slide, you'll see that we actually fare better than the Missouri average. We also have an average annual salary that is lower than the national. It's lower by $2,000. But something to keep in mind is that St. Louis does have a lower cost of living. We have been rated one of the better places to live because of our lower cost of living and average salary. So 54 is not that far off from the national average. Some good news is we are in St. Louis, our unemployment rate is lower than the national average. So this number is from 2021, but the national average was 1.6% higher than the St. Louis average. So we're seeing about a 7% unemployment rate in St. Louis. So the outlook in St. Louis. So the highest areas of growth that we're going to be seeing is in food prep and service, transportation, and healthcare support. So all of those can fall into the trade definition. Food service alone is projected to have over 18,500 openings in the next 10 years. So that is something that's definitely going to continue to grow and a great industry to consider. Something else to take note of, as I mentioned, might have mentioned it earlier, is those career grades with the average salary. So we were looking at Missouri as a whole. The grade A average was in the 70s. Grade B, I think, was in the 40s, and grade C was in the 30,000s. So our average salary in St. Louis does fare better than the entire state of Missouri as a whole. So let's look at the top outlook occupation groups. So as I mentioned, the top 3 are food prep, transportation and material moving, and healthcare. Looking at other trades in this, we see, I didn't highlight it, but building and grounds, cleaning, maintenance, construction and extraction. Healthcare practitioners and technicians are also considered a trade as they do fall under that definition of required specific training. And then we also have installation, maintenance, and repair. So there are quite a few options in the trades that we're going to see a trend in job openings in the St. Louis region. So now we're going to take a look at those now jobs. Remember, the now jobs are typically jobs that you don't need any training or little training and typically need a high school diploma or a GED. Those fast food and counter workers are like the hottest job growth that we can see right now. We also see home healthcare and waiter and waitresses are on those tops. For the most part, this list that we're looking at is most of the jobs are projected over 10%. There are a choice few that there are not a projected 10% growth. That is still something, like we look at customer service and representatives, there are a lot of openings in that area. So while there's only a 1% growth, there's still 2,982 jobs. Whereas that security guards, there's not as many security guards as our customer service representatives. 1,200 looks like a 17% increase. So while 1% might not look like a lot, 2,000 job openings is quite a bunch of jobs. So if we take a look at landscaping and groundskeeper workers, we see that there's going to be about an 8.4% increase, which equals out to 1,116 jobs. And that's annually. And then an average salary of $32,000. As we move on to the jobs that do require some sort of training, the next group, so typically a couple years of training, an apprenticeship or an associate's degree, we're seeing this average wage actually go up. So while salaries for similar jobs in the whole state view were maybe a little bit higher growth, we do see higher salaries in the St. Louis area. So heavy and tractor trailer truck drivers, maintenance and repair workers for general, and then carpenters are a hot growth for the next group of people that require some training. And carpenters actually have an A grading of annual openings, their percentage, and their salary of $65,000. And then finally, we have the later group, which remember is those jobs that typically require a 4-year education or more. These are jobs that may not scream again, I'm a trade, but they can be trade adjacent. So we can take a look again at our HR specialist example from earlier. Here we see a 9% growth rate and a $64,000 salary, which is more than what we saw earlier. Again, registered nurses do fall into the trades. And I think when I look at this, that is the only extra one that falls as under the definition of trades. So for the past few slides, we've been looking at data collected by the Missouri Economic Research and Information Center. So now we're going to take a look at something called the Occupational Outlook Handbook. If you've been in sessions with me before, we have looked at this. So this is a free government resource that you can look at many different jobs and get a lot of important information on. So I am going to go ahead and open this resource. So Occupational Outlook Handbook is put out by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and we can look at occupation groups. So you can browse by groups. You could look up a specific job in the handbook, or you could see what's fastest growing, what has the most new jobs. So I said to keep in mind that of the pipe fitters, steamers, the piper fitters and plumbing. I'm not going to remember the last word. So under construction, if I wanted to look at what I could be doing in the construction field, I see plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. That was the word I could not remember. I believe it was as the whole state of Missouri, we were seeing a 12% increase. So we were seeing a pretty decent size increase in jobs in plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. However, when you look at Occupational Outlook, the national job growth is 2%. So while taking a look at Occupational Outlook Handbook is important, so because you get a lot of great information here, I highly suggest looking at other means within our state, whether it's through the Department of Labor or through another government facility, to figure out what the job industry is like within our state. And that is definitely something the library can help with. So Occupational Outlook Handbook shows you on the summary page, just a quick info about stuff like pay, what the outlook looks like. We can look at state and area data so we can get a little more niche into what the state looks like. But all these are also across the top. So what they do will be like work environment, what plumbers, steamfitters do, then work environment, how to become one. So if this is an interest of yours, you could look in to see what the educational requirement is, what type of training you need to go to, licenses, certifications, and registrations. A lot of states require different things, but if there is anything you for sure needed that is just across the board for all states, that would be listed here. But as you can see, you can get lots of really great information fairly quickly on a specific job or industry just by looking at the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So pipe fitters make more money than most other trade construction workers, as well as more average on all occupations. So I could see this and say, from here, a 2% increase, which means that there's about 9,000 jobs that are going to be opening in the next 10 years. I might have my diploma or I might be working towards it. This could be a viable option for me to go to for a career. All right. So that was the Occupational Outlook Handbook. The next thing we're going to take a look at is library resources. So we're going to jump into 4 different resources: BrainFuse Job Now, First Research, Learning Express Library, and then SkillMill. So if I click on my library resources, I have it linking to my research resources A to Z page. The way you can get to that currently, we are going to go through a website update, but you can hover over research and then click on resources A to Z and be brought to this page. Since I'm looking for BrainFuse Job Now, I'm going to click on the B to get the B listing of resources. And then I will click on the link that I am looking for, which is BrainFuse Job Now. So BrainFuse Job Now is supposed to be an all-in-one stop resource for job assistance. So as you can see, it's broken up into resume, interview skills, and job searching. You can download a resume template. You can look at resume resources. You can do a resume lab and submit a resume. And then you can even meet with a live resume expert live between 2 and 11 p.m. Every day to talk about your resume. So you could get live feedback, or you could drop it off at the resume lab and you'll receive feedback at a later point in time. You have interview and skill assistance. So you can connect with a live interview coach. And let's say you get that interview to become a plumber and pipe fitter. You could tell your interview coach, hey, I've got this interview to go for this. Could you give me some assistance? And you'd get to go through a nice interview, like a mock interview with somebody. What's really nice about this is maybe you're still on that career exploration page. You just looked at the hot jobs that we showed you and you say, I really would be interested in going further. And you look at Occupational Outlook Handbook and you decide, oh, I want to do this, but I'm still not sure. There is this expert job matching where you would complete a job questionnaire, and it just kind of assesses what your interests are, what your skills are, and then it's going to match you with currently available jobs. So you would be able to see stuff that you'd be able to immediately apply to. eParachute is very similar, but it matches you to college major. But what I really wanted to click into was the Skills First. So Skills First is a resource within BrainFuse where you can create a resume, you can create a cover letter, you can create all that content within. But what's really nice is I'm going to click on resumes, and let's say, I haven't done this, so we'll see how this goes. Browse resumes. I can browse other example resumes. I was just doing it horribly. By seeing other examples of someone's resume. So if I said I did want to go into plumbing and I see there's 3 resume examples, I can actually download these examples for myself and then edit it. So I could say, I love the way that this resume looks. I am going to copy it. If I download it, I can download it as an editable file, and then all I have to do is edit with my information within. So that's what's really cool about the Skills First. And I want to go back because I did not do it properly. If I was at my dashboard, I can see resumes. Then I needed to click into, it was over here at the time, browse resumes. I can add these to be saved for later so I can look at stuff later. But this is a really cool feature within BrainFuse. X out, X out, X out. I'm gonna get rid of a lot of these tabs. Very intrigued as to how my presentation keeps moving around on me. Okay. So the next one we were going to take a look at is first research. So again, we're back to this researcher's resources A to Z. So if I click on F, I am going to go until I find first research. And this is a resource that provides super in-depth information on an industry. So it won't show a career path in general. It's just going to show you the industry overview. And to get into it, you do have to click a lot of yeses and submits. So we are finally at the resource itself. And I can type in an industry that I'm interested in looking at, or I can look at what's most recently been updated. So I could see construction, machinery, manufacturing is something that was most recently updated as of 3 days ago. So what's really nice about this is I can see as an industry in construction machinery, what is that? So surface mining, logging equipment, the stuff that helps people in construction do their jobs. So if this is something I was interested in going into, I could get a quick overview. So what I first always like to point out is this industry growth rating. And in this construction machinery manufacturing, there's actually a low growth. We can see why. So the demand is driven by construction activity, which requires efficient production and large capital investments. And there's a risk that construction downturns and greater import competition. So I can see that really off the bat. On the left-hand side, I have different pieces of information that I can click into. So if I was interested in what the trends in the business or in the industry are, I can click on that and see those trends. So equipment rental is a trend and online equipment auctions are also a trend. If you are looking to go into this position or into this industry and you have an interview with somebody, you can look at this call prep sheet. And what you can see here are something that in business is called a SWOT analysis, but this isn't like a full SWOT analysis. The SWOT analysis looks at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of a business. So this is a little similar. So we see key business challenges, opportunities. So you can think of strengths and opportunities and the key business opportunities, and then weaknesses and threats would be in this challenges area. And why I point this out is because if you're going for an interview in something and you look at this and you know high steel prices is a challenge, you could ask the interviewer, what effect does the price of steel have on your company's margins? And that gives you a leg up in showing that you've done your research on this industry, you know what the challenges are, or you know what the opportunities are, and you are wondering how this company is going to manage that challenge or meet that opportunity. That'll give you really good insight to see if this industry company is going and making the moves and making the strides to align themselves better, which can help you feel if there's a sustainable job with this place. All right, I'm just gonna type in SLCL. I'm gonna go the long way. So you can find us by Googling SLCL or St. Louis County Library. Again, hovering over research, find your resources A to Z. This third database we're going to look at is Learning Express Library. So that is under the L. And I tell people this is my favorite database, and I fully mean it because there's a lot of goodies within this. And I honestly feel almost anybody at any point in their life, maybe the exception of like kindergarten, could use this resource for something. So what we're going to take a look at here is the career prep area, the job and career accelerator, and then resume and cover letter builders. So if I click on career prep, I can see a little menu of what's within. And you can think of these as like catalogs. So this is the career prep catalog. This is going to be the job and career accelerator catalog. So under the career prep catalog, yes, are different exams. So anybody that's thinking about going into trucking, you're going to need a CDL if you don't have one. There are practice exams that you can take. All that you need to do is register an account with EBSCO, which is the owner of Learning Express. You can do so up in the upper right corner. They don't need any identifying information about you, and they do not use you for solicitation. It's just for you to be able to have an account that you can go back and take a test, save your results, and so on. So there are lots of really great exams that you can use within this resource. So let's, for example, say I was wanting to look at what the CDL offers in this resource. I see there's the endorsement exam practice, the general knowledge exam, and then the exam prep ebooks. I'm not going to click on these because it's going to ask me to sign in, and I don't remember my sign in for this, unfortunately, but these practice exams are key for anything that you do need to take an exam for, just because you get the chance of practicing, sitting down with the test. You can do the test on your own time, or you can do the test as if you were sitting and actually taking it, to get a little bit of that feeling of what it is like to take the test. And then it's free. So you don't have to pay for these practice exams, which is really nice, especially if you have to pay for the exam itself. So if we look back at these centers, I said I was going to look at Job and Career Accelerator next, but I'll do it from this view. So if I click on Job Career Accelerator, this is where you can find career match. You can explore different occupations, but what's really nice is you can search for jobs and internships within this resource. This does link out to third-party websites, so it will link out to USA Jobs and Indeed. But what's nice is if I'm looking for an internship, I can look at just the internship portion of Indeed, or I can look at all the jobs that are available. So that is something you can do within this resource as well. So you can build your resume and cover letters within here under the resume and cover letter catalog center. You can find jobs within here. You can use this resource for practice exams. You can also use it for if you just need help with anything like under the adult core skill, which is math skills, becoming a better reader, improving your writing, speaking, grammar, and if you need to take the U.S. citizenship test. These can also be beneficial for professional development within any job. And then the last one we're going to go to is SkillMill. So I'm going to go through it a weird way. I'm just going to go through it the way that I log in. This is a trades-based resource where you can do trades training online. So the way that SkillMill is set up is you can view courses in any of these areas, which is HVAC, commercial HVAC, solar, electrical, plumbing, appliances, residential construction, courses in safety, facilities maintenance, multifamily facility maintenance, and hospitality. I already said appliances. So the way this is set up is if you're interested in becoming a plumber, you could use SkillMill for career exploration. You could also use it to learn the skills within plumbing itself. And then there are accredited courses within here that are accredited by NATE and ISET. The way that these courses work is you can sign up for a path. So you could say, I want to start next level plumbing fixture maintenance, or maybe I want to be an apprentice. So what all would I learn in my year one apprentice? This is a really good supplement to on-the-job training as well as on-the-job apprenticeship programs. So don't think of it as a way to replace trade training. Think of it as a way to learn more about the trade and see if that is a good fit for you, as well as to practice knowledge from stuff that is learned somewhere else possibly. So the next thing we look at is these are the top picks. what we see here is we have like gas water heater operation. The video completion takes about 1 to 2 hours, and there's 12 videos within here. So like I said, I think the way SkillMill works is it is videos that you would learn from an expert in the field, followed by knowledge assessments. And then in some cases, there are simulations, and that is what this little box means. So if I click on a course that I am interested in enrolling in, I get more information about it. So I see it's 3 hours. This is rounded up. So let's say the 3 videos that are within here average 2 hours and 10 minutes. They're going to round up to 3 hours. So they always round up to the closest or the highest hour. There's 2 simulations in here, and we'll take a look at one of those simulations. But I can see a breakdown of the information we're going to learn. So we'll have chapter 1 and 2, and then I'll have a knowledge check to see, did I get what I needed? And you do have to pass those with a certain rate. I believe it's 80%. So when you enroll in a class, you have to click enroll and then start. You're always given an introduction video, but then we'll see we have a walkthrough video of a side mount. This is going to be one of those simulations. So I'll go ahead and click start on that. And then the next is a knowledge checkpoint. What sets SkillMill apart from anything else is that there are these simulations. These are going to be three-dimensional simulations, and they can be done on your computer like we're about to do, or they can be done in VR headsets. The library has purchased headsets that people can check out. So we have 15 headsets that are available for circulation, thanks to grant funding from the International Museum and Library Science. The IMLS, I definitely said that wrong. It's the Institute of Museum and Library Sciences. So we're going to go ahead. My simulation is ready. I'm going to click start. I'm going to double make sure my sound is being shared with you all because I can hear some white noise. So I just want to make sure that you all could hear it as well. Ooh, so I've received a service order for installation of an automatic retrofit flush meter. So I'm going to say, okay. Right now it says locate the commercial toilet. It's right here. If I press and hold, I can look around. So I can see everything that's around me in this nice bathroom. If you are in a VR headset, you would have this on your head, be a computer, on your face, and you'd be able to look around the room as if you were in the room itself. I am in an intermediate simulation. There are 3 different types: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Beginner simulations will literally walk you through step by step and tell you everything you need to do. Intermediate takes some of that away. So I will say I might not be able to perform this because I have not watched the videos, nor have I taken any of the previous courses. So if I click OK, it says his water's still running. So I would need to know what I need to do. But this is what a simulation would look like. So in the intermediate phase, you are tasked with doing the task itself without assistance, besides it saying, is the water still running? No. For a pre-flush check, are there any signs of a visible leak? No. Press the flush-o-meter handle and highlights that I need to do that. You got that nice sound of a toilet flushing. So it gives you the immersive experience of actually being within a place where you would be doing this. Is there any visible leaks after we flush? So you would be going through this step by step until you troubleshooted what's actually wrong with this. I'm waiting because I hit the wrong. Okay, let's get out of this. I actually do have to finish this whole lesson, or it doesn't let me. No. So let's fix this toilet together or install a this flush mount. while I'm on my laptop, all this is clicks. If I am in the virtual reality, this would be using the remotes to make selections and then moving the item accordingly. So we're getting ready to put this automatic flush on this toilet, which is very interesting to me that you could do that. Almost. And the toilet has got a little handle. So I could be wrong in that. The batteries in. Now we're gonna use the Allen wrench. Like that. Should be turning the water back on. Doing a last check here of any leaks. It's almost like a little game. Oh, we're wiping it off. They think of every detail in doing this. So we just successfully installed a automatic retrofit flushometer on that toilet. So I went through that very quickly, but as you can see, it would literally walk you through every necessary step in doing that product or in that project. So let me go to SLCL again. So if we go back to our library's webpage, getting access to SkillMill is a little different. So before we were doing research, resources A to Z, and then looking at the list. You can still do that. You can look under SkillMill, so S for SkillMill or I for Interplay Learning, which is the vendor. But also under using the library is the SkillMill landing page. So whether you go to research resources A to Z, or you go this way, you're going to get to this page. And it's going to give you an overview of SkillMill, but you will need to register for it. So if you click on this image or you click on this registration form, that will take you to the form that gets you registered. And then one of our staff on the back end has to add you to our team. So all you need is a current library card with us. And filling out this form, you would receive an email from marketing@interplaylearning.com within 3 to 5 business days. We just give that range just in case the person that uploads people is out. So you would get an email once you are added. And then you get to play and resource as you will. So you could literally trial a trade while within SkillMill itself. All right, back to my presentation. So additional resources that you can use within the St. Louis region. STL Works really assists people looking for jobs in the trades and actually has job postings that you can view. If you are a woman looking to go into the trades, there's an entire organization that is available to assist you with any step in that process of just making connections and networking. And I believe they do meet every third Thursday, and that would be on their website. So that could be a place for you to meet people that are similar to you. Missouri Apprenticeships shows you apprenticeships that are available, as well as Apprentice Connect. And then the ONET interest profile is something that you can do to figure out if you're interested in, or to figure out what you're interested in, aligning with your interests. So you'll take a quiz. It'll walk you through a bunch of questions like, I like being around people. I like using my hands. So ask you questions like that and then match different jobs to you. Again, I will be sending these slides out to you, so you will have access to the link for that specific assessment. And then the last thing I do want to talk about is library assistance. So the library is able to assist you with any of the resources that I showed or any of our resources that we have on our website. We can also assist a bit in the career exploration phase. So we would walk you through, like if you said, hey, I am looking to change careers or I'm looking to get into the trades, we would show you the resources and walk you through specifically what you're interested in. And you can do that through the Book a Librarian form. I will click on that in a second, but I want to talk about the rest of the stuff first. If you need assistance with making a resume, or if you really need assistance with like application portals or just the working with technology in general, there's something called Book a Trainer where you can meet with a trainer instead of a librarian to talk about those tech needs. For the Book a Librarian, our appointments are 1 hour in length, and then you can schedule additional if needed. The Book a Trainer, they run between 20 minutes and 60 minutes, depending on your need. And again, you can book additional time if you end up needing it. You can always email us at reference@slcl.org for any information questions. We might not be able to answer some things. We don't answer like tax questions, medical questions, or legal questions. But if you have questions specifically related to job and career exploration, feel free to email us. You can also chat us. So the chat line for the library goes to the reference department. So if you say, hey, what resources can I use for job exploration, whoever answers in chat should be able to answer that for you, as it is people within our department. And then you can always call the library at 314-994-3300. And if you're watching this from the St. Louis County Justice Center, we also have a reference by mail program where you can write to us your question and we will send you a response, a written response. So our address is 1412 South Spady Road, St. Louis, Missouri, 63131. If I click on this Book a Librarian form, it takes you to our webpage where you will input your name, email address, what time of day works for you, your preferred meeting option, and your topic. What I do ask is for you to be as specific as possible in your topic. If you just put career exploration, that's great. You will get an email from one of my staff that says, what career are you interested in going into? So as much information as you can provide in that BAL form, that's what we call it, the Book a Librarian form, BAL for short. Please put as much information as you can. That just helps us prepare better for when we actually have our time set to meet with you. The same goes with the Book a Trainer. When you fill out this form, again, as much detail as you possibly can provide. That way they can be the best prepared when it comes time for your meeting. So that concludes our presentation on trade outlook, or trade forecast in St. Louis and in Missouri. Please feel free to reach out to us, and we look forward to seeing you at future programs.